one play at a third time. So let's not focus on the great game. Let's focus on the great play. Let's play with passion. Let's play with love. Let's play with responsibility. Let's play with respect for one another.
How you feel? How you feel?
Morning. I don't want you to focus on, because if I ask you right now, do you want to have a great game? All y'all will say yes, right? I want you to focus on, I want to have a great play. I want to have a great play. Then the next play, I want to have.
We are back with another episode of Inside the Locker Room on HBCU Central. And I did tell y'all, like I said, that we are going to get a guest for every episode. In this episode, we have another Morgan State athlete, Mr. Alfred Worrell Jr., guard, senior. How are you doing, man?
Man, appreciate y'all, having me on the show, man. It's a blessing just to be a part of this, man. And like what I said, just appreciate y'all, man.
And thank you for agreeing to this, because your work, it also means a lot. And like we have said before, we have had an eye on you and your gameplay, but we'll talk about that all in the interview. But what I do want to start off though for this interview is, last year at Southern Miss, you played about 13 minutes a game, and this year you're at Morgan State, your numbers and minutes have increased and improved drastically. Just what has went into that, and what mindset have you had just while going from Southern Mississippi to Morgan State?
First of all, Morgan State came with me with open arms. I'm originally from the DMV area, and just to be a part of a culture of trying to do something different, being able to come to a situation where it might feel uncomfortable, but make it a comfortable situation. I feel like this was probably the best decision, God allowed me to do. It was, at first it was a tough decision. I had a lot of schools coming out in the portal that was trying to recruit me. But my mom and my parents kind of wanted me a little bit back home. They wanted to come watch me play. They haven't been able to watch me play. So it's just a lot of work. And, just being able to stand down. Sometimes, we don't understand why things happen at the moment, but later we will understand why. So I kind of, my situation at Southern Miss last year, it was a blessing. I love Southern Miss. There will always be a special place in my heart. But, Morgan has definitely allowed me to spread my wings, be able to, show who Alfred Worrell is.
Agreed. And, I'm actually glad you touched up on that, because that's what my next question was going to be. I named this as, it's called a personal journey. And my personal journey question to you is, it's called the transfer experience. And based off what you just told me, you kind of already answered my question, but I'm just going to go and ask anyway in case you have a different opinion or thought. After playing at Southern Miss, man, how would you describe the transition to the style of play in the MEAC conference?
Definitely the style of play. I would probably say at the Southern Miss level on the Sun Belt Conference, it was a lot more. The guys, the thinking level was kind of a little bit more different. I would say the MEAC kind of plays more grittier guards. The basketball is a lot more faster. It's a lot more, kind of, fast-paced style offense, being able to go up and down, high-scoring games. Uh, it's definitely a little difference for sure. But my ability, the way I play, I feel like that can translate at any level. Being able to shoot the ball at a high level can translate from being able to play at Kentucky or playing at Morgan State. It doesn't matter, where you at. So I feel like my game is kind of a kind of game that be able to allow me to translate to a great level. So.
And we keep speaking about the transitions, how you went from Southern Mississippi to Morgan State, and how you improved drastically. But you, from the growth, you jumped from 6.5 points per game to 17.8 points per game. What specifically has unlocked that scoring jump? And we see it, we do see the the more open look passes, we see the ball move, we see that you're getting more opportunities to get the basket. But what really has went into that scoring jump?
Like what I said, just being able to just trust in God. Just understanding your time will come. Being able in a situation where when you're playing around good guards, my teammates is really helped me, be in a position where I'm able to get the ball. My coaches are able to, run sets for me to be able to, show what, I'm about, being able to put me in the best position as possible for me to be able to, be the high level player that I can be.
And that's a good thought because that's what a lot of coaches look for in the locker room is how heavy of a roster can you possibly have, and then you gotta build around each other. That's what makes you a dominant team, especially in conference play. Which also kind of leads me to my next question for you. It's called backcourt partnership, Mr. Alfred. So you and Mr. Elijah Davis are both among the team's top leaders in points and minutes. How has your chemistry developed to help lead this veteran heavy roster?
Man, it was an adjustment at first. I've never really been a part of a program where I had to really lead. I was always a guy, trying to, follow the path from the older guys. And, even in junior college and at Southern Miss last year playing with older guys. So, this year was kind of adjustment, being able to come into a situation where uh, having younger guys that's looking up to me, should have to show guys the right way to do things, showing guys, you know, my hard work and being able to just do everything the right. You got to be able to be precise with everything you're doing, when you're a older guy and a senior and stuff like that. So, it has definitely been a huge adjustment for me, but I feel like I've adjusted really well to that role. Me and Elijah and Rob, I feel like we have really been able to show that our leadership and uh, those key things is allowing us to being able to get on this win streak and have a chance to be able to do something special going into March.
Yep. And basically, my last question for you, and it's going to be a pretty simple one. We talked this whole interview about how you transferred. What is your advice to the ones that are currently in the transfer portal or going to look forward to being in the transfer portal to look for their next home?
I would probably just say being able to really know what situation you're really getting yourself into. Don't go what looks don't go what looks pretty. Go what makes the right fit for you. And number one thing is being able to trust God. Being able to ask God what's the right situation, and He will guide you in that way. That's the biggest thing that I did with me. It wasn't what was the prettiest situation or this and that. I looked at what made it right for me and who was going to give me the right opportunity to for me to be able to show what I'm about. And Morgan State offered me that, and that's why I accepted it.
Agreed. And I honestly got really two quick questions for you. My first question to you is it's called the MEAC tournament goals. With the regular season winding down, what does the team need to stabilize defensively to make a deep run in the MEAC tournaments? Because a lot of struggling teams in conference play end up being the most surprising team. And right now, you guys, as far as Morgan State, are got your foot in the door as far as the MEAC tournament goes as of right now. But uh, what does the team need to do to stabilize defensively to make a deep run in the MEAC tournament?
So to be completely honest with you, my guy, we was on that other side of the boat in the beginning of the year. If people look, we was losing. We lost a couple games in a row. We was losing the 4 or 5 point games, the 1 point games, game winners. Um, giving up leads that we had under 2 minutes, and I felt like that builded this program, and we was able to grow from that. It was a lot of things we had to be able to grow. I mean, when you add 11 new guys to a roster, it's hard to really adjust. Being able to adjust to this new style of college basketball where everybody's transferring, you get a whole new roster every single year. So there was an adjustment for us. And for us to be locked in defensively, I mean, we be grinding at practice. I mean, our practices be game days. And if somebody really watched our practice, we be going real hard. Um, Running, sliding. I mean, all types of defensive assignments and stuff like that. But I think the key thing about staying, being that defensive team is having that chemistry on the floor. And I think that we're really, really like we're really starting to understand each other. That's why our team is starting to click at the right time.
Absolutely. And to end all this off, Mr. Alfred, what? No, let me rephrase that. Tell the audience before we let you go. Tell the audience why is it important to play for HBCU. Matter of fact, why HBCU? Put it like that. Why Morgan State?
Ron Morgan State. First of all, being able to be a player from an HBCU is, really important. I feel like a lot of HBCU players get overlooked because of, you know, a black school and might not look pretty from on the outside, but it's a lot of things that goes into this. And I love Morgan State. This will forever be my home. This is the best decision I made in my life, and I would never turn back on this. And sorry about that, but
All right, you're good.
yeah, but I've definitely, I'm definitely enjoying my HBCU experience because I just feel like it's giving me an opportunity to really just show that it's some good guys. Being able to play at a higher conference. I played in the Sun Belt and MEAC. It's some guys that can really play at at that level. And I would definitely say being able to be a part of a black community that's strong and tight, and be a part of something that's very special that a lot of people overlook. So I would definitely, recommend a lot of people to, really try the HBCU route. And the people is, the loving people there, the giving people, and I definitely, enjoy my HBCU for sure.
Great
Absolutely.
response.
HBCU is a culture. Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
Yep.
HBCU, like I told UAPB softball player, HBCU is it's not an event. It's a culture.
Yep.
That's the
Yep.
thing what people have to understand about HBCUs. It's an environment. What at Southern Miss, you got that. You got the crowd, you got all this. But one thing about HBCUs and Power Five schools in general is that it's the culture. Then the Power Five schools just can't compete with the culture of an HBCU. And
Yep.
you got the band, you got the sororities or fraternities. You got the student section. It's more of a culture because the history is on the floor, whether it's football, basketball, baseball. It doesn't matter. The culture is there, and that's what we try to get players to spread. Is that when you come to HBCU, it's not an event. Yeah, because every game is an event, right?
Yeah.
But HBCUs, it's a culture. It's a history with that culture. So
Yep.
we appreciate you for touching base on that. But that's
Yep.
all the questions that we have for you, Mr. Alfred. We appreciate you so much. This is Mr. Alfred from Morgan State, senior guard out of, like I said, Morgan State. I'll keep saying it till you understand. The Morgan State is where Mr.
Yep.
Alfred is from. But Mr. Alfred, we appreciate you so much, brother. God bless you and your team throughout the rest of the season.
Yes,
Grace
sir.
and peace to you. Deuce, do you have anything, brother?
Thank you for joining the show. Like we said, your work helps us and it helps you, and we are going to promote you and your gameplay as much as possible. Thank you for joining this podcast, and thank you for taking time out of your evening to join our podcast. We are still a relatively new podcast, but it means a lot that you took time out of your day to come and join our segment. So thank you, Mr. Worrell. And like Michael said, have a great evening and thank you for coming on.
Appreciate y'all too, man.
Is there any way we can get it
All
back
right.
on?
Let me see.
I feel like we cut him too soon.
Yeah, he's too okay. But anyways, a fresh week of sports. And look, we got some time to talk. But the first thing I want to talk about is in the relatively new thing to the new news today. Mickey Joseph has been extended by Grambling State. I know me and Michael have had our opinions about Mickey Joseph all season or off season. And me and Michael, we did say this. We said this is probably Mickey Joseph's make it or break it year. And I guess that proved us wrong because he he did just get an extension today. Michael, what are your thoughts about that really quickly?
Yeah, honestly, it's still really do or die for me. It's really win or go home at this point. Whether he has a 2 year or a 3 year contract, it doesn't matter to me because honestly, in my opinion, those 2 years still does not determine the fate of his head coaching legacy at Grambling State. Honestly, there is no excuse for how this coming up season is gonna go. You got the transfers, you got the recruits. I don't know if Grambling has an offensive coordinator or not at this point, but Deuce, I'm really just like, okay, at this point. I mean, there's really nothing really more I can say or do to get people to understand that, I just honestly think that Nicky Joseph, I mean, yeah, he got rounded to 7-5, first winning season since 2019, and all that in particular. That's good and all, but at the same time, I just honestly think that, and I might be jumping the gun a little bit, but like I said, this season, whether you agree with me or not, I hate to break it to you. But Grand Fam, if you are listening and you are hearing this, I'm not being biased. I'm just keeping it real with you. It's do or die. It's win or go home for a Grambling football program. That's just what it is. You can try to beat around it, give your thoughts, I'm fine with that. But this 2 year contract, it still does not mean that, oh, he's locked in. He can't be let go because there are some coaches who have been let go within their contract. So make no mistake. I mean, even though Graham have to pay us some money, but his season is still 50-50 with me at least, with me and Deuce at least. So it is what it is. I'm just gonna see how this season goes, Deuce. But I will say this: don't say we didn't warn y'all, because it is win or go home. That's just where it's at. Bottom line. So whether it can Grambling win more and possibly make a swag title and also win the Bayou Classic, maybe. But Grambling's fate is in the balance. Mickey Joseph, he's still in the hot seat with me. I might be jumping the gun, but I mean, if you would just see how this season is going in general, how could you not? You know what I'm saying? So we'll just see how this goes, dude. That's really all I can say.
I agree. Hold up, Michael, really quick. I had hit the pause button. After you said what you had to say, I hit the pause button on accident.
It's all good.
Just waiting. Just wait. All right. Hold on. My Wi-Fi starting to act up. But at least I got your clip. I got every. We ain't have nothing mess up so far. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Michael, basically, also the last topic I do want to talk about really quick, and I'll just give my quick thoughts about this. The HBCUs are coming to Wrigley Field. I told Michael this earlier. I said the one thing that HBCUs need for baseball is exposure. Because if basketball and football already get low exposure, baseball needs exposure. And the fact that they're getting to play at Wrigley Field, one of the most iconic stadiums in all of baseball, is just incredible for the HBCU culture and HBCU community. And this, hopefully, this gets picked up by a major, major broadcasting network that can stream this game like ESPN or ABC, because not ESPN or NBC. That's what I meant to say, not ABC. That can stream and record this game for the HBCU baseball fans. Because right now I keep saying this, I feel like HBCU baseball at the most needs better broadcasting, because already it is hard enough to get footage from HBCU baseball games. But Michael, do you have anything to close out this podcast?
Uh, yes. First and foremost, let me give you my opinion on why I think it's important for ACC baseball to go to Chicago, especially um, at the historic ballpark where Jackie Robinson played. One, Deuce, it evaluated scouting and visibility. The national platform, this is not a ceremonial expedition. Okay, let's go on and get that clear. But it is a sanctioned SWAC conference game between Fairview and Alabama A&M playing in an MLB stadium provides student athletes with the elite exposure to professional scouts and national media. Number two, in the evaluated scouting visibility, professional standards. Those competing under the lights at a major league venue allows players to demonstrate they can perform at the highest levels, countering the narrative of, here it is, a low resource limitations often associated with smaller programs. Number two, historical and cultural legacy. Jackie Robinson connection, dudes. Wrigley Field is the only active MLB ballpark where Jackie Robinson played during his career. Hosting HBCU teams here directly links the era of MLB inauguration to the modern landscape of the black college college exit sports. Number two, Negro League heritage. The venue previously hosted Negro League games during the segregation, returning black excellence to this. Here it is, Cathedral of Baseball. Honors the resilient history while writing a new chapter for the sport. Number three, dudes, recruitment and here it is, community impact. The classic model by mirroring the high energy atmosphere of HBCU football classics, compete with marching bands, fan celebrations. The event aims to build a sustainable baseball tradition that expands the sports DNA of major cities like Chicago. Youth inspirational. The organizers hope seeing HBCU uniforms in an ironic MLB stadium will inspire local youth to pursue baseball and higher education, showing them that the path in the sport does not end in youth leagues. Number four, last thing, dudes, and I'm gonna leave it alone after this. Career and network event adventures. Beyond the field, dudes, much like the HBCU Swing Band Classic, these events often include mentorship, youth clinics, and professional networking opportunities that prepare students for careers in sports marketing, broadcasting, and leadership if they do not pursue professional play. I think that's the main reason here. If you really just break it down, that's the main reason why the Chicago HBCU Baseball Classic at Wrigley Field is important for HBCU history and legacy. Because these players are chasing legacy to play in the MLB, like Jackie Robinson, who played at Wrigley Field and made history as the first black baseball player to play at Wrigley Field.
Look, Michael, I'm gonna say this: the importance of HBCUs getting on the national level is important, and the more and more events that we can have like this, for all sports. And really, I kind of think the women's needs more classics like this, like that they get to play, at a bigger arena or something. Even though there's few women professional sports, I feel like all HBCUs need the same type of exposures, all sports, women and men. But Michael, the one thing I do want to say about this though, as the what's called it, as the HBCU SWAC season comes to play, Michael, um, we're getting to a point where Graham is kind of starting to raise a lot of questions on how they will compete in the SWAC tournament. But this is something that I'm just previewing for next week because Grambling currently is playing right now, or they played earlier. I don't remember if it was women's or men's first, but it is a doubleheader today. Um, but we will be talking about Grambling next week, and we will be updating you on the HBCU tournaments going around because I believe the CIA is going on, right, Michael? The CIA or the SI, yeah, these the D2 tournaments are going on right now. I think they've reached the final four, and in a couple like a week or two, that's when the SWAC and MEAC starts. So we got a lot of HBCU as the what's called basketball season wraps. So we got a lot of HBCU basketball content about to come this way. And then as we segue into baseball, football in the offseason talk, and trust me and Michael have a lot to talk about. Preview for this weekend we do have another Morgan State guest. That is our first spotlight episode. I'm not gonna keep y'all. I'm not gonna let y'all know all the other guests yet, but I will let y'all know our first spotlight episode with Mark Livingston will be on Saturday. It'll be me, Michael, Mark, and our Morgan State guests. You don't want to miss that. And please, our video last time, I know it was shorter, but come on, I think shorter videos should get longer views or more views. Our goal this time is 50. Last week, we reached our goals on our Inside the Locker Room and our HBCU Central content. So please help us get there. Continue to share the content on Facebook, Instagram, to your family members. Share it to everyone. We want to get that exposure. And also, if you're a guest or an athlete that is watching this, or you see our clips on Instagram and you want to DM us, just DM HBCU Central, or just DM Michael Sports Talk, or just DM Sports Talks with Deuce. And we'll get back to you and we'll schedule you a date. The one thing I always say this, we will get every HBCU guest or HBCU athlete on our show. You just have to bear with us. We are on busy schedules, but we will get everybody. And if you're a sport that we don't cover, don't be shy to, don't be afraid to come and ask us to come speak with us. Like, I'll even talk tennis if somebody wants to come on and get some exposure on tennis from the HBCUs. It's all about HBCU exposure and HBCU support at the end of the day, and that's what we strive to do every episode and every time we are behind the scenes. But like I always say, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. Follow on all socials. We are currently at 233 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you. We are growing. Our goal is 250. And Michael, do you have any closing remarks before we close this out?
Yes, first and foremost, we appreciate all of you so much for um, following us and liking our content at HBCU Central. Like I said,
Almost
what
at
we
200, almost at 200 followers too.
yeah, I believe we're at 182 right now. So we appreciate all of you for spreading our information out. We appreciate you for understanding the professionalism that we're trying to give out here on this Sports Talk page, especially for HBCUs, because we're trying to get HBCUs that uplift that a lot of news media, a lot of sports media outlets, and ESPN companies like ESPN are not doing. That's why HBCU Central is made. We're not doing it for viewers. We're not viewing this for camera viewership. We're not doing this to get attention. What we're doing is that we're doing this for a higher purpose than within ourselves. We're doing this to uh, tell HBCUs that we're here and we support the HBCU world. We support HBCU pride. We support our HBCU sports. Like Dude said, don't be afraid if you're a soccer, tennis, doesn't matter. We're gonna cover whatever sport that you want us to cover because, like, at the end of the day, we're all for all HBCU sports. And I know it might not seem like we are, but we are. We're trying to tackle one sport at a time. Really we try to tackle many as we can. But like Deuce just said, keep keep supporting. You know, even though our viewer count was low in our last episode, the main important thing is that our message is seen and it's being spread. So if you haven't, make sure you tune in inside the locker room, HBCU Central. Um, our episodes are on there. It's on YouTube. Again, it's at Inside the Locker Room. Um, please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and share because, like I said, your support and your sharing helps us make our job easier on getting HBCU players, or really HBCU athletes in general, student athletes in general, uh, the spotlight recognition that, like I said, these news companies are not doing. So why not HBCUs? So let's make sure that we're spreading support for HBCU student athletes because they deserve pro career level, just like these Power Five schools are giving their players with ease. So pay attention to HBCUs athletes because they're just as skilled as Power Fives are.
Agree. And like I said, thank you for watching. And next time on HBCU Central, make sure you tune in.